All right, so Jeremiah chapter 34. Jeremiah's word to King Zedekiah. Now, this is where things get a bit messy. This is probably the next few chapters were probably my favorite because it was like, y'all wild. Y'all have a lot of audacity. This is the word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord when King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, his whole army, all the kingdoms of the lands under his control, and all other peoples were fighting against Jerusalem and all its surrounding cities. This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Go speak to King Zedekiah of Judah and tell him, this is what the Lord says. I'm about to hand this city over to the king of Babylon, and he will burn it. As for you, you will not escape from him, but are certain to be captured and handed over to him. You will meet the king of Babylon eye to eye and speak face to face. You will go to Babylon. So he's being told that y'all will lose in battle and go into captivity. He will curse you to surely he will cause you to surely lose because you'll be off game. He won't be focused. Yet hear the Lord's word, King Zedekiah of Judah. This is what the Lord says concerning you. You will not be unalived by the sword. You will be unalived peacefully. There will be a burning ceremony for you, just like the burning ceremonies for your ancestors, the kings of old who came before you. O Master will be the lament for you, for I have spoken this word. This is the Lord's declaration. So the prophet Jeremiah related all the words to King Zedekiah of Judah and Jerusalem, while the king of Babylon's army was attacking Jerusalem and all of Judah's remaining cities. This is Lachish and Azekah, for they were the only ones left of Judah's fortified cities. The people and their slaves. This is the word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord after King Zedekiah made a covenant with all the people who were in Jerusalem to proclaim freedom to them. As a result, each was to let his male and female Hebrew slaves go free, and no one was to enslave his fellow Judean. All the officials and people who entered into covenant to let their male and female slaves go free, in order not to enslave them any longer, obeyed and let them go free. Afterward, however, they changed their minds and took back their male and female slaves they had let go free and forced them to become slaves again. And the thing is, it's not surprising. It's what they do to God. It's what they do to Elohim. Like, no. And the thing is, what's crazy is, if you think about slavery, in some places where they did let the people who were enslaved go free, some places they did not because they realized that they would have to do all the work. And they didn't know how to do the work. That was the whole point of slavery, is because one, they didn't want to do the work, and two, they didn't know how to do the work. So they enslaved people to do the work for them. Then the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah from the Lord. This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I made a covenant with your ancestors when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. Now, mind you, these people also wanted to go back. Let's not forget that. These people also wanted to go back. They would rather have been still enslaved than to actually put in the work. It was easier to be enslaved. Out of the place of slavery, saying, at the end of 7 years, each of you must let his fellow Hebrew who sold himself or who was sold to you go. He may serve you 6 years, but then you must let him go free from your service. But your ancestors did not obey me or pay any attention. Today you repented and did what pleased me, each of you proclaiming freedom for his neighbor. You made a covenant before me at the house that bears my name. But you have changed your minds and profaned my name. Basically, you did the same thing your ancestors did. You said yes, and then you went back on your word. Each has taken back his male and female slaves who had been set free to go wherever they wanted, and have again forced them to be your slaves. Therefore, this is what the Lord says. You have not obeyed me by proclaiming freedom, each of his fellow Hebrew and for his neighbor. I thereby proclaim freedom for you. This is the Lord's declaration. To the sword, to plague, and to famine. So you have the freedom to these three things. Let's underline them. The sword, plague, and famine. That's what you are free to. That's your freedom right there. You're free to do these three things. And it's not or, it's and. So you can get all three. Okay? I will make you a horror to all the earth's kingdoms. As for those who disobeyed my covenant, not keeping the terms of the covenant they made before me, I will treat them like the calf they cut in two in order to pass between its pieces. The officials, and this was more so like what they would do to seal a covenant. So this was like coming into agreement, or how they made an agreement. The officials of Judah and Jerusalem, the court officials, the priests, and all the people of the land who passed between the pieces of the calf, all these I will hand over to their enemies, to those who intend to take their life. Their corpses will become food for the birds of the sky, for the vultures, and for the wild animals of the land. I will hand King Zedekiah of Judah and his officials over to their enemies, to those who intend to take their lives, to the king of Babylon's army that is withdrawing. I'm about to give the command. This is the Lord's declaration. And I will bring them back to the city. They will fight against it, capture it, and burn it. I will make Judah's cities a desolation without inhabitant. Whew. Listen, and it gets good. It gets good when we get 35, 36, and on and on.